The massive alien fleet appeared suddenly, their enormous ships hanging in the blackness beyond Pluto. Earth's telescopes captured images that sent chills through military command centers worldwide. Never had humanity seen vessels so large. The smallest alien ship could have held an entire Earth aircraft carrier inside it. Threat assessment. General Back asked, his voice tight as he stared at the main screen of Earth Defense Headquarters. The analyst swallowed hard. Their energy readings are off the charts, sir. Our entire planetary defense network wouldn't scratch their smallest support vessel. On space stations and lunar outposts, humans watched with growing dread as the alien armada slowly advanced toward Earth. Military vessels scrambled to defensive positions, though everyone knew this was merely a gesture. The largest human battleship looked like a toy beside the alien dreadnoughts. Commander Li Juan stood on the bridge of the EDS Harmony, Earth's diplomatic vessel. At 42, she had navigated first contact with 3 other alien species, all peaceful. Nothing had prepared her for this. Her dark eyes remained steady, but her hands, clasped behind her back, betrayed her tension. "All systems ready, Commander," said Officer Song, her pilot. "Though I still think this is suicide." Juwan nodded. "Noted, but we're humanity's best chance." She straightened her blue uniform and added, "Begin approach vector." The Harmony detached from Earth orbit, a small silver shape against the vastness of space, heading toward the alien fleet. Juwan had insisted on a minimal crew, just herself, communications specialist Kim Hyuk, scientist Dr. Yoon, and pilot Officer Song. No point risking more lives than necessary. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Kim reported, his fingers dancing across his console. Standard greeting package transmitting. The Harmony carried humanity's collective knowledge, art, music, science, history, all encoded and ready to share. Juwan had always believed that understanding was the path to peace. "They're responding," Kim said suddenly. "Receiving transmission." A communication window appeared on the main screen. The being that materialized made Juwan step back involuntarily. Overseer Tusk stood nearly 3 meters tall with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. 6 eyes, arranged in a hexagonal pattern, blinked independently. What might have been a mouth opened, revealing teeth like polished obsidian. "Humans," the creature said, its voice translated through the ship's computers. "We are the Void Collective. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we welcome you," Juwan replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We seek peaceful dialogue and cultural exchange." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "We have watched your civilization for over 300 years. Your technological progress is disappointing." Kim, who was monitoring the original alien language patterns, whispered to Juwan, "There's contempt in their speech patterns. They're not impressed by us at all." Juwan maintained her diplomatic posture. "We have much to learn, certainly, but we believe all species have valuable knowledge to share." "Knowledge." Tusk's skin flashed dark purple. "What knowledge could you possibly offer the collective? Your ships burn chemical fuel. Your people still die from simple diseases. You fight meaningless wars over resources that are abundant in your system." Dr. Yoon stepped forward, unable to contain herself. "With respect, we've made remarkable progress in a relatively short evolutionary time frame. Our mathematical models suggest—" "Silence," Tusk interrupted. "Your models are childish approximations of universal principles you barely comprehend." The alien leaned closer to whatever recording device they were using. All 6 eyes focused on Juwan. "Here is what will happen now. Earth possesses water, minerals, and biological diversity that the collective requires. You will surrender these resources to us. In exchange, we will allow a portion of your species to continue existing." Juwan's stomach tightened. "And if we decline, then we will take what we need anyway," Tusk replied simply. "The difference being that no humans will remain afterward." The bridge fell silent. Kim's hands trembled at his station. Officer Song muttered a quiet prayer. Surely we can negotiate terms that benefit both our civilizations, Juan attempted. There is nothing to negotiate. You have 72 of your hours to prepare for our arrival and begin resource transfer. Tusk's skin rippled with blue patterns. Your governing bodies have already been contacted with specifications. Juan tried once more. Please reconsider. We can establish trade protocols that. 72 hours, Tusk repeated. Any resistance will be met with immediate planetary bombardment. The transmission ended abruptly. The screen returned to showing the massive alien fleet still moving steadily toward Earth. Orders, Commander. Officer Song asked, his voice barely audible. Juan stared at the alien ships. In her 20 years of space service, she had never felt so small, so helpless. But something inside her refused to accept defeat. Set course back to Earth, she said finally, and open a secure channel to Defense Command. As the Harmony turned back toward home, Juan moved to the private communication booth. General Back's face appeared on screen, grim and aged by worry. You heard their terms, she asked. He nodded. All world leaders received the same message simultaneously. The planet is panicking. What options do we have? The general hesitated. Almost none. Our weapons are useless against their technology. Juan leaned closer to the screen. What about Project Colossus? Back's eyes widened. That's only theoretical. The system isn't even fully built. It's time to make theory reality, General, Juan replied. We have 72 hours to show the Void Collective that humanity isn't as helpless as they think. As the Harmony raced back to Earth, the crew watched the alien fleet through their rear viewports. The massive ships moved with impossible grace for their size, like predators confident in their kill. Do you think we have a chance? Kim asked quietly. Juan didn't answer immediately. Her eyes remained fixed on the stars. Humanity has always done its best work when backed into a corner, she said finally. It's time to show these aliens exactly what disappointing humans can do. The alien ships hung in Earth's sky like dark stars, visible even in daylight. People across the planet looked up in fear. Schools closed. Some prayed. Others rioted. Military forces around the world prepared for a fight they knew they could not win. But deep beneath the red surface of Mars, in a secret base called Olympus Station, a different kind of preparation was underway. Dr. Park Dae-hyun stood in the center of the massive underground chamber, surrounded by blinking lights and humming machinery. At 68 years old, his hair had turned completely white, but his eyes remained sharp and clear behind his glasses. He had spent 30 years of his life in this secret facility, working on a project most of humanity didn't know existed. Final system check, he ordered, his voice echoing through the chamber. Around him, 50 engineers and scientists moved with urgent purpose. Each had been carefully selected years ago for their brilliance and discretion. They had lived on Mars, away from their families, working on humanity's greatest secret. Power systems stable, called out Engineer Joe from her station. Quantum cores aligned and synchronized, reported Dr. Nam, looking up from his displays. Dae-hyun nodded and turned as the heavy doors to the main chamber slid open. Commander Lee Ji-won entered with 2 other military officials. All 3 looked exhausted after their emergency flight from Earth. Commander, Dae-hyun greeted her with a small bow. Welcome to Project Colossus. Ji-won looked around the massive chamber in amazement. The center of the room was dominated by a gleaming silver sphere suspended in a complex framework of light beams. Around it, thousands of smaller units formed expanding rings, like an artificial solar system. So it's real, she whispered. When they briefed me, I thought it might be exaggerated. It's very real, Dae-hyun said, leading her toward the central control platform. For decades, we've kept our most advanced research hidden, not just from other countries, but from public knowledge entirely. Why? Asked General Min, one of the officials accompanying Ji-won. Dae-hyun's face grew serious. Because we suspected we weren't alone in the universe, and we needed a trump card if first contact went poorly. He gestured to the screens around them. Colossus is a quantum supercomputer unlike anything we've acknowledged building. It can interface with all human technology simultaneously. Han Mina, Dahyun's top student, joined them on the platform. At 32, she was the youngest lead researcher on the project. "The aliens believe us primitive," she said. "That misconception is our only advantage." "How much time do we need?" Juan asked. "To bring the system fully online." "At least 4 days," Dahyun replied. "But we only have 3. Juan looked grim. "I'll try to buy us more time. I'm scheduled to speak with their commander again in 6 hours. "What exactly can this machine do?" asked the third military official, Admiral Yang. Dahyun exchanged looks with Mina before answering. "In theory, Colossus can hack into and control any digital system. It processes information thousands of times faster than our most advanced public computers. It can develop and test battle strategies, find weaknesses in enemy systems, and coordinate our entire defense network as a single unified entity." "In theory," Yang repeated skeptically. "We've never activated it at full capacity," Mina explained. "The energy requirements would have been noticed by the public. We've only run simulations and partial tests." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the chamber. One of the technicians called out, "Incoming transmission from Earth." The main screen activated, showing General Back from Earth Defense Command. His face was ashen. "Commander, are you seeing this?" He didn't wait for a response before continuing. "The aliens just destroyed our research outpost on Europa. No warning. Over 300 people." The screen split to show footage from a distant observatory. A massive alien ship approached Jupiter's moon Europa. A pulse of energy shot from the vessel, and the small human outpost simply disappeared. Where the research station had stood, there was now only a smoking crater in the icy surface. "They're demonstrating their power," Juan said quietly, "showing us what happens if we resist." The room fell silent. Every person there had just watched hundreds of colleagues die. Dahyun broke the silence. "We need to work faster. No breaks, no sleep if necessary." "I'll negotiate for more time," Juan said, her voice hard with determination. "Whatever it takes." Back on Earth, millions watched the footage of Europa's destruction in horror. News broadcasts showed people weeping in streets around the world. The alien fleet maintained its position, a silent threat in the sky. In her temporary quarters at Olympus Station, Commander Juan prepared for her next communication with the Void Collective. She studied her tired face in the mirror, trying to look more confident than she felt. Her communication specialist, Kim, knocked on her door. "Commander, I've been analyzing their language patterns from our first meeting," he said when she let him in. "Anything useful?" she asked. "They value strength above all. Showing fear will only encourage them to attack sooner." Juan nodded. "Then I won't show fear." Hours later, she stood alone in the communication chamber. The alien leader, Overseer Tusk, appeared on screen, its iridescent skin shifting through colors. "You have had adequate time to accept your situation," Tusk stated. "Will you comply with our demands?" Juan kept her face neutral. "My leaders request an additional 4 days to organize the resource collection you demand. We are a fragmented species with many governments." "Unacceptable," Tusk replied immediately. "You saw what happened to your Europa outpost. That was a small demonstration. If you want maximum efficiency in resource collection, you need to give us proper time to organize," Juan countered. "Otherwise, the process will be chaotic and slow. Is that what the collective wants?" The alien was silent for a moment, its 6 eyes blinking in an unsettling pattern. "You have 2 additional days. No more. 5 days total." "Thank you, Overseer," Juan said, careful not to show relief. "Do not thank me, human," Tusk replied. "I simply calculate that this is the most efficient approach. If we detect any military preparations, we will begin planetary bombardment immediately." The transmission ended. Juwan exhaled slowly, her shoulders sagging with temporary relief. They now had 5 days instead of 3. It might be enough. Back in the Colossus chamber, she delivered the news to Diane's team. 5 days, the scientists said, looking at the massive machine they were bringing to life. It will be close, but we can do it. Mina stepped forward. We won't just activate Colossus, she said, her eyes bright with determination. We'll show the Void Collective exactly what primitive humans are capable of. On the 4th day after first contact, Colossus fully activated. The massive quantum computer hummed to life beneath the Martian surface, its processing cores glowing with blue-white light. Dr. Park Dae-yeon watched with tired but proud eyes as 30 years of his work finally reached its potential. All systems operational, announced Han Mina, her fingers dancing across the control panel. Colossus is online and functioning at 100% capacity. The team of scientists and engineers broke into exhausted cheers. Many had not slept for days, surviving on stimulants and determination. Begin analysis of the alien tech, Dae-yeon ordered once the celebration quieted. 3 days earlier, a covert Earth operation had managed to recover debris from the destroyed Europa station. The fragments contained pieces of alien technology that had broken off during the attack. These precious samples had been rushed to Mars under heavy secrecy. Colossus scanned the alien technology at a molecular level, breaking down its composition and function faster than any human could. On massive screens around the chamber, analysis data flowed at incredible speed. "This is remarkable," muttered Dr. Dae-yeon, watching the results appear. "Colossus is identifying patterns I never would have seen." 6 hours into the analysis, Kang Junho, the military's chief engineer, called an emergency meeting. His normally calm face showed rare excitement. "We've found something," he announced to the gathered team and military leaders. "The Void Collective uses a very specific form of quantum communication to coordinate their fleet. It's incredibly advanced, but also surprisingly rigid." "Rigid how?" asked Commander Juwan, who had returned from Earth for this briefing. "They use quantum entanglement to transmit orders instantaneously across vast distances," Kang explained. "But the frequency patterns are fixed. They never change them. Probably because they've never needed to. No species they've encountered before could detect these patterns, let alone disrupt them." "But we can?" General Min asked. Kang smiled for the first time in days. "Colossus thinks so. Their ships are powerful but inflexible. They've never had to adapt because they've always been the most advanced species in any conflict." Han Mina stepped forward. "We've already designed a prototype disruption system. If it works, we could temporarily blind their ships, cut off communication between vessels." "How quickly can we implement this?" Juwan asked. "We've transmitted the designs to Earth's remaining shipyards," Kang replied. "The first units will be ready within 12 hours. The next day, a small fleet of Earth's fastest ships gathered in orbit around Mars. Each had been retrofitted with the new disruption technology designed by Colossus. The plan was simple but dangerous: test the technology on one of the smaller alien ships patrolling the outer system. Commander Juwan insisted on leading the mission personally, despite objections from military leadership. "This is still a diplomatic mission until proven otherwise," she argued. "If we succeed, I need to be there to make contact." The Earth fleet, 10 ships in total, approached a lone alien vessel near the asteroid belt. The alien ship was still 5 times larger than Earth's biggest vessel, but it was isolated from the main collective fleet. "Disruption systems ready," reported Captain Rio from the lead ship. "Awaiting your command." Juwan took a deep breath. "Activate on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The Earth ships simultaneously activated their disruption fields. For a terrible moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the alien vessel suddenly stopped its smooth movement. Its lights flickered. It began to drift aimlessly. "It's working," someone shouted. "They're blind." "All ships, move to Phase 2, Juwan ordered. precision strikes on external weapon systems only. The Earth vessels swarmed the much larger alien ship, firing concentrated energy beams at specific points identified by Colossus. They weren't trying to destroy the vessel, just disable it. Within 20 minutes, the unthinkable had happened. A single alien dreadnought, a ship that could have easily destroyed Earth's entire fleet 2 days ago, floated powerless in space, its weapons offline, its communications silenced. "Boarding teams ready," Juan said, securing her helmet. "Remember, we want information, not casualties." She led the first team across the gap between ships, magnetic boots allowing them to walk on the alien vessel's hull. They found an entry point exactly where Colossus had predicted. Inside, the Earth soldiers moved cautiously through enormous corridors. The artificial gravity still functioned, but emergency lights cast eerie shadows. They encountered no resistance until reaching what appeared to be a control center. There they found the crew, but not what they expected. Instead of a homogeneous group of aliens like Overseer Tusk, they saw at least 6 distinctly different species. Some were tall and slender with 4 arms. Others were short with thick protective shells. One group had features that seemed almost fish-like. Only 3 of the crew members resembled Tusk, the same iridescent skin and multiple eyes. These 3 were giving orders, which the others followed with obvious fear. When the Earth soldiers entered the control room, weapons ready, most of the alien crew cowered. But the Tusk-like aliens fought fiercely until subdued. One of the shorter aliens approached Juan cautiously. It used a device to speak in broken English. "You, not kill. Not like Void Masters." Juan lowered her weapon slightly. "We don't want to kill anyone. We want information. What is this ship? Who are all of you?" The alien seemed confused by the question. "We serve Void Collective. All serve or die. Many worlds, many peoples, one collective." Over the next hour, through difficult communication, Juan learned the truth. The Void Collective wasn't a single alien species, but dozens of conquered civilizations forced to serve under the dominant Void species. The creatures like Tusk, called the Void Masters, had conquered countless worlds over centuries. "They not care about other species," the small alien explained. "We tools, resources, nothing more." Juan established a secure communication link with Mars. "You need to hear this," she told Dr. Park and General Min. "The collective isn't united. The Void Masters maintain control through fear and technological superiority, not through loyalty or shared purpose." "Can we use this?" asked the general. "I think so," Juan replied. "Have Colossus analyze their internal communication frequencies. If we can broadcast directly to the enslaved species." Within hours, Earth began transmitting a carefully crafted message to the alien fleet. It bypassed the main command channels used by the Void Masters and instead reached the communication devices of the subjugated species. The message was simple. "People of the stars, you are not alone in your desire for freedom. Earth stands ready to help any who wish to break free from Void Master control. Today we disabled one of their ships without destroying it. We can do the same for you. Freedom is possible." As the message went out, Juan watched the captured alien crew listening to the transmission. She saw something she recognized in their strange, alien eyes, something universal that crossed the boundaries of species and worlds. Hope. Chaos erupted across the Void Collective fleet within hours of Earth's broadcast. On 17 different ships, subjugated species rose up against their Void Master commanders. The rebellions were uncoordinated and desperate, but they created exactly what humanity needed: confusion. From the Mars Command Center, Dr. Choi Yunha monitored the situation. As head of Earth's Psychological Warfare Division, she had crafted the message that sparked the rebellions. "The pattern is clear," she explained to the gathered military leaders, pointing to the display showing the alien fleet. "The Void Masters never expected resistance from within. Their entire empire is built on the assumption of absolute control." General Min nodded. Fear only works when people believe they have no alternative. And now they see an alternative, Commander Juwan added. She had returned from the successful capture of the alien dreadnought just hours earlier. Dr. Park Dae-yeon entered the room, followed by Han Minna. Both looked exhausted but determined. Colossus has identified the central command vessel, Dae-yeon announced. It's this one. He pointed to the largest ship in the alien fleet, a massive structure that dwarfed even the other collective vessels. How can you be sure? Asked Admiral Yang. Quantum communication patterns, Minna explained. All orders originate from that ship, then spread outward in a distinct pattern. Take out that vessel, and the entire command structure falls apart. Can we disable it like we did with the smaller ship? Juwan asked. Park shook his head. Not directly. It's too powerful and too well protected. But, he paused, looking at his colleagues. Colossus has designed something new. A virus that targets their quantum communication network. A virus. General Min looked skeptical. A quantum algorithm that replicates throughout their system, Minna clarified. Once uploaded to any part of their network, it will spread to every connected ship, causing cascading failures in their power and communication systems. How do we deliver this virus? Juwan asked. That's the hard part, Park admitted. Someone needs to upload it directly to one of their networked systems. The captured dreadnought would be perfect, but they've surely cut it off from the network by now. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. They would need to get close enough to an active alien ship to upload the virus manually. I'll do it, Juwan said finally. Commander, that's... General Min began. My decision, she interrupted. I know their ships better than anyone now. I've been inside one. The plan came together quickly. Earth would launch a coordinated attack, targeting ships where rebellions had already weakened Voidmaster control. The confusion would provide cover for a small team led by Juwan to approach the command vessel and upload the virus. As preparations began, Admiral Yang pulled Juwan aside. This is a suicide mission, he said quietly. Juwan met his gaze steadily. Probably. But what choice do we have? The next day, Earth launched its attack. Every ship they could muster, military vessels, retrofitted civilian crafts, even space station modules fitted with engines, swarmed toward the alien fleet. They were pitifully small compared to the collective ships, but they were fast and maneuverable. From the Mars Command Center, Dr. Park watched the battle unfold. Remember, he said into the communication system, aim for the weak points Colossus identified. Don't try to destroy them. Just keep them distracted. In space, Commander Juwan led a team of 6 in a small, fast ship. While the main battle raged, they slipped through the chaos toward the massive command vessel. Approach vector clear, reported Officer Song, who had insisted on piloting this final mission. They're too busy with the main attack to notice us. Juwan's team attached their ship to the hull of the command vessel using magnetic clamps. They cut through the outer shell using tools designed by Colossus specifically for the alien metal. Inside, they moved quickly through the corridors. Unlike the captured dreadnought, this ship was fully functional. Alarms blared. Strange announcements echoed in alien languages. This way, Juwan directed, following the map Colossus had generated. The nearest network access point should be 2 levels down. They encountered resistance, Voidmasters armed with energy weapons. 2 of Juwan's team fell in the first exchange. The remaining 4 pushed forward, using the tactics they had developed based on their previous boarding experience. Finally, they reached a room filled with pulsing lights and humming technology. This is it, said Technical Officer Jin, the team's computer expert. The network hub. Jin connected the device carrying the virus to the alien system. Uploading now, he reported. Estimated time to completion, 3 minutes. We may not have 3 minutes, Juwan said as more alarms sounded. Defensive positions. Everyone. The upload reached 60% when the doors burst open. Voidmasters poured into the room, led by a familiar figure, Overseer Tusk himself. "Continue the upload," Juwan shouted to Jin as she and the others returned fire. The battle was fierce but brief. Juwan's remaining team members fell one by one. She took a hit to her leg, but kept fighting, positioning herself between the aliens and Jin. "Upload at 95%, Jin called out. "Almost there." A final barrage of alien weapons fire struck Jin just as he shouted, "Complete." Juwan was the only human left standing, surrounded by Void Masters. Overseer Tusk approached her, its skin flashing angry colors. "What have you done?" it demanded. Before Juwan could answer, the lights in the room flickered. The hum of technology faltered. Throughout the ship, systems began to fail. "Exactly what you feared," Juwan replied, despite her pain. "We've adapted." Across the fleet, the virus spread through the quantum network. Ship after ship lost power and coordination. Some drifted aimlessly. Others turned on each other as confused systems misidentified targets. The carefully choreographed collective fleet dissolved into chaos. In the command vessel, emergency systems kicked in, providing minimal power. Tusk stared at Juwan with an expression she couldn't read. "You've lost," Juwan said. "Your fleet is disabled. The species you've enslaved are breaking free. It's over." To her surprise, Tusk ordered the other Void Masters to lower their weapons. "You are the first species we've encountered that combines technological ability with emotional intelligence," the alien admitted. "The collective has conquered countless worlds, but never faced a species that merges logic with compassion. This was unanticipated." "What happens now?" Juwan asked, still wary. "Now," Tusk replied, its voice different than before, "we negotiate. Not as conquerors, but as equals. You have earned that right." Through the viewports, they could see the battle outside changing. Earth ships were no longer attacking, but instead helping disabled alien vessels stabilize. In some cases, the liberated species had already taken control of their ships and were communicating with Earth forces. "We never wanted war," Juwan said. "We wanted survival. And now, perhaps, peace." Tusk was silent for a long moment. "Peace," it finally said, as if testing an unfamiliar concept. "The Void Masters have not known peace for 10,000 years. Perhaps it is time to learn." 6 months after what became known as the Liberation Battle, Earth looked very different. Ships of unusual designs filled its orbit. Strange beings walked its streets. Humanity had gone from facing extinction to becoming the center of a new galactic community. The Void Collective's rigid command structure had collapsed completely. Without their quantum network, the Void Masters lost control of their massive empire overnight. Dozens of formerly enslaved species claimed their own vessels and freedom. Earth, once considered primitive by the Collective, established itself as a haven for these newly liberated civilizations. The first alien embassy opened in Geneva, followed by 30 more across the planet. Each represented a different species with its own culture, biology, and history. Deep beneath the Martian surface, Dr. Park Dae-yeon worked with renewed purpose. The Colossus supercomputer, originally designed as a weapon, had been repurposed as a galactic diplomatic tool. Its vast processing power now helped translate between hundreds of alien languages and mediate complex disputes. "I never imagined this outcome," Park admitted to Han Mina as they welcomed a group of 8-limbed scientists from the Kiluri species. "I built Colossus to save humanity, not to connect it with the galaxy." "The best tools can be used for more than one purpose," Mina replied, watching as the Kilari engineers examined the quantum core with their compound eyes. Not all former Collective members embraced the new reality. Several groups of Void Master loyalists fled to distant systems, taking enslaved populations with them. Commander Lee Juwan, now recovered from her injuries, led a coalition of human and alien ships to track them down. Her vessel, the Unity, contained crew members from 15 different species. Where once the sleek corridors of Earth ships had held only humans, now beings of all shapes and sizes worked together. Some breathed different atmospheres, requiring special suits. Others moved on tentacles instead of legs. Yet all shared a common purpose. Contact established with Loyalist vessel, reported Nax, a tall four-armed navigator from the Pelion system. They're charging weapons. Defensive positions, Juwan ordered calmly. Remember our priority. Freeing the slaves, not destroying the ship. The battle lasted less than an hour. The Loyalist Voidmasters fought fiercely but couldn't match the coordinated tactics of Juwan's diverse crew. Each species contributed unique insights that created a fighting force greater than any single approach could achieve. After the slaves were freed and the Loyalists contained, Juwan received a message from Earth. She was needed for an important event, the first meeting of the newly formed Galactic Council. The council convened in a massive dome built in Antarctica, neutral territory chosen deliberately. Representatives from 27 formerly enslaved species gathered alongside human delegates. The architecture accommodated beings that flew, crawled, or floated in liquid. Dr. Park and his team had created translation devices that allowed everyone to understand each other. The Colossus system worked in the background, processing the subtleties of each language in real time. As Juwan entered the council chamber, thousands of alien eyes turned toward her. Some species showed respect through complete stillness. Others hummed or flashed colors. The human delegates simply applauded. The council leader, a luminous being named Thala, invited Juwan to address the gathering. She stepped to the center of the chamber, feeling the weight of the moment. 6 months ago, my species faced extinction, she began. We were considered primitive by the collective, unworthy of continued existence. Today, we gather as equals, each with our own gifts to share. She looked around at the diverse assembly before continuing. Our strength was never in our size or our technology, but in our understanding that diversity creates resilience. No single approach can solve all problems. No single species has all the answers. Together, we create something greater than any one of us could achieve alone. The council erupted in sounds of approval, everything from whistles to deep rumbles to flashing bioluminescence. Back on Earth, scientists from across the galaxy gathered at research centers established for cross-species collaboration. Dr. Park worked with experts from 12 different civilizations to develop new technological protocols based on cooperation rather than domination. The Voidmasters built their empire on control and fear, explained Kelth, a scientist whose species resembled Earth octopi. Their technology reflected this, rigid, hierarchical, designed to maintain power imbalances. Our new systems must be different, Dr. Park agreed. Adaptable, transparent, accessible to all. The changes weren't always easy. Some humans feared the aliens. Some alien species mistrusted each other after centuries of forced competition under Voidmaster rule. Old hatreds and suspicions didn't disappear overnight. Yet slowly, progress continued. Trade routes opened between formerly isolated systems. Cultural exchanges brought alien art, music, and philosophy to Earth, while human creativity spread throughout the galaxy. In a secure facility in northern Canada, Overseer Tusk awaited trial for crimes against countless civilizations. The former Voidmaster leader had requested a human guard rather than an automated system, a curious choice that puzzled his captors. One evening, the guard on duty, Sergeant Gill, found Tusk observing the news feed showing the latest Galactic Council session. Representatives from species that had been enemies for millennia were working together under Earth's guidance. Your people continue to surprise me, Tusk said, its multiple eyes blinking in sequence. How so? Gill asked, curious despite himself. When we first saw your planet, we measured your strength by your ships, your weapons, your technology, Tusk replied. We saw only your physical smallness compared to our fleet. The alien turned its gaze from the screen to the human guard. But you are indeed Colossuses, it admitted. Not in size, but in vision. You see connections where we saw only things to control. You build bridges where we built walls. Tusk's skin rippled with colors that the translation system identified as indicating deep thought. Perhaps that is why the Void Masters always felt so empty, despite conquering half the galaxy. We gained worlds but lost the very thing that makes existence meaningful: connection. As the former tyrant contemplated its failures across Earth and throughout the solar system, a new type of civilization was taking shape. Where the collective had sought to homogenize the galaxy through force, humanity had shown that differences could become a source of strength when respected and valued. The human race, once dismissed as primitive, had become not the rulers of the galaxy, but something far more important: its connectors, its translators, its bridge builders. And in this role, humanity found its truest strength.